Syria, a nation often seen today through the lens of war and political turmoil, holds a story far more profound, ancient, and spiritually significant than most realize. Deeply rooted in biblical history, Syria's role transcends its present struggles, woven into the very fabric of biblical prophecy and the divine narrative of history. From its alliances and rivalries with ancient Israel to its prophesied destiny in the end times, Syria's story is both compelling and enigmatic. Known in the Bible as Aram, this ancient land has been home to one of humanity's oldest civilizations, stretching back to the days of Abraham and the patriarchs. By the end of this exploration, you may never view Syria or its place in the Bible the same way again. In biblical times, the land we know as Syria was called Aram, and its people, the Arameans, are referenced extensively throughout the Old Testament. The name Aram refers to both the region and its inhabitants, a powerful kingdom located north of Israel, bordered by the Euphrates River to the east and the Mediterranean Sea to the west. Its heart was Damascus, a city that still stands today as one of the world's oldest continuously inhabited cities and the capital of modern Syria. According to Genesis 10:22 through 23, the Arameans descended from Shem, one of Noah's sons, through Aram, Shem's grandson. This lineage places Syria's origins in the post-flood world, making its people direct descendants of Noah. Like the Israelites, the Arameans are part of the Semitic peoples, sharing linguistic and cultural ties with neighboring civilizations such as the Akkadians and Babylonians. This shared heritage created a tapestry of relationships, both cooperative and contentious, between the Arameans and the Israelites. The Bible frequently intertwines the stories of Aram and the patriarchs of Israel. When Abraham sought a wife for his son Isaac, he sent his servant to Aram Naharaim, the region of Haran, where his family lived. Genesis 24:4. This connection between the early Hebrews and the Arameans was more than a geographical coincidence. It was a bond of shared ancestry and mutual significance in God's unfolding plan. Syria's interactions with Israel were as complex as they were dynamic, shifting between alliances of peace and periods of intense conflict. The Bible captures this duality in vivid detail. One of the earliest and most notable alliances occurred during the reign of King David. Toi, the king of Hamath, a city in Aram, sought peace with David, even sending his son to deliver gifts in recognition of David's victories. 2 Samuel 8:9-10. This moment of diplomacy underscored a time when Aram and Israel could coexist peacefully. However, as Israel's power grew, so too did tensions with Aram. During the era of the divided monarchy, when Israel, the northern kingdom, and Judah, the southern kingdom, operated as separate entities, hostilities between Aram and Israel escalated. The Aramean king Ben-Hadad repeatedly clashed with the northern kingdom, leading to a series of dramatic confrontations. In 1 Kings 20, Ben-Hadad besieged Samaria, the northern kingdom's capital, but was ultimately defeated. Despite this setback, Aram remained a persistent threat to Israel under various rulers. One of the Bible's most gripping accounts of Aram's interactions with Israel occurs during the ministry of the prophet Elisha. In 2 Kings 6:8-23, Elisha thwarts a Syrian attack by revealing their military plans to the king of Israel. In a miraculous turn, Elisha prays for God to blind the Syrian forces, allowing Israel to capture them without bloodshed. Such moments showcase the divine hand in shaping the turbulent relationship between Aram and Israel. Yet, even in times of conflict, Aram and Israel occasionally joined forces when faced with a common enemy. For example, in 2 Kings 16, Pekah, king of Israel, allied with Rezin, king of Aram, to wage war against Judah. These shifting allegiances highlight Aram's vital role in the geopolitical landscape of the ancient Near East. As tensions between Syria and Israel grew, the Bible's prophets began to deliver ominous oracles concerning Syria's fate. These prophecies, vivid and often unsettling, foretold the nation's downfall and destruction as judgment for its enmity toward Israel and its acts of violence. The prophet Amos pronounced a scathing judgment against Damascus, Aram's capital. In Amos 1:3-5, the Lord declares, "For 3 sins of Damascus, even for 4, I will not relent. Because she threshed Gilead with sledges having iron teeth, I will send fire on the house of Hazael that will consume the fortresses of Ben-Hadad." This prophecy denounced Syria's brutality and foretold the destruction of its royal dynasty and strongholds. Similarly, the prophet Isaiah spoke of Damascus's downfall in Isaiah 17, proclaiming, "See, Damascus will no longer be a city, but will become a heap of ruins." This striking declaration envisioned the eventual destruction of one of history's greatest cities, a powerful reminder of the transience of human empires when they stand in opposition to God's will. Jeremiah, too, delivered a chilling prophecy against Damascus. In Jeremiah 49:23-27, he wrote, "Damascus has become feeble. She has turned to flee, and panic has gripped her. Anguish and pain have seized her, pain like that of a woman in labor." These vivid images portray the devastation and terror that would engulf Syria, fulfilling God's judgment for its role in opposing his people. Historically, many of these prophecies were fulfilled through Assyrian invasions and the eventual fall of Damascus. Yet some theologians believe these words carry a dual significance, pointing not only to historical events, but also to future fulfillments in the end times. The biblical narrative of Syria is not merely a tale of the past. It echoes into the future, carrying profound implications for biblical prophecy and the unfolding of God's plan. Though Damascus and Syria faced judgment for their opposition to Israel, the Bible also hints at restoration and reconciliation in the broader scope of God's redemptive work. Syria's story, as seen through the lens of Scripture, is one of immense significance, a nation that has stood at the crossroads of history and prophecy. It is a reminder of the sovereignty of God, the consequences of opposing His will, and the enduring hope of restoration. By understanding Syria's biblical origins, historical role, and prophetic destiny, we uncover a richer and more profound perspective on this ancient nation. As prophecy unfolds, Syria's place in the divine narrative may yet again captivate the world's attention. Syria, a land steeped in ancient history and rich biblical significance, continues to hold the fascination of scholars and believers alike. Beyond its past, many believe Syria's story is far from over, and that it is destined to play a pivotal role in the unfolding of end-time prophecies. With its history intertwined with biblical accounts and its present marked by geopolitical turmoil, Syria's future is seen by some as aligning with the dramatic events foretold in Scripture. From the potential fulfillment of Isaiah's prophecy about Damascus to its involvement in the apocalyptic battles of the last days, Syria's journey offers a compelling glimpse into God's divine plan for the nations. One of the most haunting and debated prophecies concerning Syria is found in Isaiah 17:1, which proclaims, "See, Damascus will no longer be a city, but will become a heap of ruins." Damascus, one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world, has experienced destruction in the past, yet many scholars and prophecy experts argue that the ultimate fulfillment of this verse has yet to occur. The staggering words of this prophecy paint a picture of total devastation, one that some believe could align with future events tied to the escalating instability in the region. Modern-day Syria, plagued by civil war, regional conflicts, and the influence of global superpowers, seems to echo the turmoil described in biblical visions. This prophecy about Damascus is not merely a warning of destruction, but a marker of significant shifts in the biblical timeline. While past conflicts have brought destruction to the city, many believe its final fulfillment may occur as part of the apocalyptic events leading to the return of Christ. Such an outcome would forever alter the political and spiritual landscape of the Middle East, fulfilling ancient words penned thousands of years ago. Syria's significance extends beyond its borders, connecting it to broader prophetic narratives about the Middle East. In Ezekiel 38-39, the Bible describes a coalition of nations led by Gog from the land of Magog, which will rise to wage war against Israel in the end times. While Syria is not explicitly named in these passages, its alliances with key players like Iran, Russia, and Turkey suggest it could be a silent but critical participant in this prophesied battle. This apocalyptic war, often referred to as the War of Gog and Magog, involves nations from the north and east of Israel banding together in an assault on God's chosen people. Some interpret Syria's current alliances with hostile powers as a prelude to this prophetic conflict, setting the stage for a dramatic confrontation where God will intervene to defend Israel and defeat its enemies. Such an event would not only demonstrate divine justice, but also serve as a powerful testament to God's sovereignty over the nations. While much of Syria's biblical prophecy centers on judgment, due to its historical opposition to Israel and involvement in wars and idolatry, the Bible also reveals glimpses of hope. Scripture often intertwines judgment with restoration, reflecting God's ultimate purpose of redemption for all nations. Even for a land like Syria, which has long been a focal point of conflict, the Bible speaks of a future where reconciliation and peace are possible. One of the most profound visions of restoration is found in Isaiah 19:23-25. Although this prophecy primarily focuses on Egypt and Assyria, which included much of modern-day Syria, its implications are breathtaking. In that day, there will be a highway from Egypt to Assyria. The Assyrians will go to Egypt and the Egyptians to Assyria. The Egyptians and Assyrians will worship together. In that day, Israel will be the third, along with Egypt and Assyria, a blessing on the earth. The Lord Almighty will bless them, saying, "Blessed be Egypt, my people, Assyria, my handiwork, and Israel, my inheritance." This remarkable vision portrays a time when former enemies, Egypt, Assyria, and Israel, will unite in worship under the reign of God. For Syria, which is part of ancient Assyria, this prophecy foretells a stunning reversal of its historic enmity with Israel. No longer adversaries, these nations will become a blessing to the world, a testimony to the transforming power of God's mercy. The prophecy envisions a world where political divisions and ancient hostilities are replaced by spiritual unity and peace. For Syria, this represents the hope that even a nation marked by war and judgment can find its place in God's redemptive plan, embracing a future of reconciliation and worship. Syria's role in biblical history is not limited to the Old Testament. In the New Testament, the region emerges as a critical hub for the early Christian church. The city of Antioch, located in what was historically Syria, became a vibrant center of Christian activity. It was in Antioch that the disciples were first called Christians, Acts 11:26, and the city served as a launching pad for the Apostle Paul's missionary journeys. Perhaps one of the most dramatic and transformative moments in Christian history occurred on the road to Damascus, the Syrian capital. In Acts 9, Saul of Tarsus, later known as Paul, was traveling to Damascus to persecute Christians when he encountered the risen Christ. This divine encounter led to Saul's conversion, transforming him into one of the most influential figures in Christianity. Damascus, therefore, became not just a city of historical importance, but a spiritual landmark in the spread of the gospel. Through its cities and people, Syria played a foundational role in the growth of early Christianity. This legacy of faith serves as a reminder that even amidst chaos and conflict, Syria has been a place where God's work has flourished. As we look toward the future, the Bible hints that Syria will once again play a pivotal role in the climactic events of the end times. While Revelation 16:12-16 describes the gathering of nations for the Battle of Armageddon, Syria's proximity to Israel and its alliances with other powers suggest it may be part of this final confrontation. Likewise, its strategic location and history of opposition to Israel place it within the broader framework of biblical prophecy. However, Syria's role in the end times is not solely defined by destruction and judgment. The Bible also paints a picture of hope, a time when nations, including Syria, will turn to God and find their place in His redemptive plan. The prophecy in Isaiah 19 offers a glimpse of this restored unity, where Syria, alongside Israel and Egypt, becomes a beacon of worship and a blessing to the earth. Syria's story, as told through Scripture, is one of profound transformation. It is a nation marked by conflict, judgment, and rebellion, but also by the promise of restoration. The judgments foretold for Syria, including the destruction of Damascus, may serve as a catalyst for spiritual awakening and redemption in the region. Just as Israel was judged for its sins but ultimately restored, Syria too may experience the mercy of God if its people turn to Him. In the end, Syria's destiny is tied to the unfolding of God's grand narrative for the Middle East and the world. It is a story of conflict giving way to peace, judgment giving way to redemption, and division giving way to unity. As prophecy continues to unfold, Syria's role in God's plan remains central, a nation with a past rooted in biblical history and a future that holds the promise of divine restoration. If you found this exploration of Syria's biblical significance enlightening, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and leave a comment below with your thoughts or questions. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're passionate about diving deeper into biblical prophecy, history, and spiritual insights, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Let's continue this journey of discovery together.